James 3 tells us that the tongue is a fire and that controlling my words, that is like a sample of controlling the whole man.
All right, number one, Mike, how do we answer this? It's not a sin to cuss.
Well, before I answer, I just want to point this out. There is an emotional or psychological impact of this kind of a statement. And I think the general impact is, here's something a lot of people do that they feel sort of bad about. And we're telling them, don't worry about it, right? Like, don't feel bad about it. We're liberating you. We're freeing you from the oppressive conservative Christians and that the real hell of society, which is, traditional Christianity.
Yes.
And that's what I get from a lot of the progressive stuff. Nothing gets them more irritated than traditional Christians offering what they see as frivolous rules, for people's lives.
Yeah.
So that sets the theme for the list. The list is, I'm going to debunk a bunch of conservative Christian stuff. And some of it's less important. Some of it's more important. I would acknowledge this is a less important topic than the other things we'll talk about. But and many people do obsess over words. They do obsess too much over words. Like, you say darn, and they go, you shouldn't say that. That's too close to that other word that we don't say. Or you say, oh my gosh, and then they're like, well, you basically just blasphemed the name of the Lord. And I would agree that's unwise. That's not good. But let me read to you some scriptures, because the Bible's not just interested in you not cussing. It goes way further than that. And I don't mean less than that. I mean like more than that. So Ephesians 5:4 tells us, let there be no filthiness or foolish talking, nor crude joking, which are out of place, but instead let there be thanksgiving. So no, not even just foolish talk. Like, just foolish talk is ruled out, whatever that is, right? Colossians 3:8 says, you must now put away slander, obscene talk from your mouth. Obscene talk, this really does parallel with cussing. I mean, it just does. Sorry to people who don't like that. The question here isn't whether you like cussing or not. The question is whether on following Christ, it's consistent to have that kind of language in my mouth, at least casually, which I think is what this is getting at. James 3 tells us that the tongue is a fire and that controlling my words, that is like a sample of controlling the whole man. And then I realized, wow, measuring every word that comes out of my mouth is just a great piece of self-control in honoring Christ. And Jesus put it this way. He says, I tell you, on the day of judgment, people will give account for every careless word they speak.
Wow.
So I do think that cussing probably is in that category. I think and it depends on societies. In our society, we have a certain class of words. Some are debatable, but some are clear. These words are clearly foul language, and that you don't want that in the mouth of a Christian. Some try to use the scripture and they go, well, the Bible has cussing when Paul says that he counts it all rubbish. No. Like, I'm sorry. He uses a strong word there, and it basically means feces, right? It does mean poop, and it is meant to invoke your reaction to that idea. But it wouldn't be a parallel to modern cuss language or cursing language. It's just not a parallel. So I've actually looked, and this is why I posted on social media. I was like, someone give me a case. I want to see the case for cussing on scripture. And it's not there. I might do a longer video on this topic one day because I find it interesting and it might be helpful to people. But I would say my short answer is, biblically, I'm called to so much more than not cussing. I'm not called to just not do that. I'm called to care deeply about every word that comes out of my mouth and make all of my life honor Christ. And that means purity in all things.
I love that. And you make such a good point about it's not just avoiding the sin of cussing, but how much further the Bible takes it. It's just so stunning when it says you taking into account every careless word, even just the careless words that we've spoken. And so I think that's a really good point. I think we settle for far too little as Christians. We do. And you're absolutely right about this list being kind of like, we're going to free you from the shackles of this legalism you've grown up with and all of this. And so I think it could be really attractive to people because of that.